Hey everybody, I'm John. I collect cards. I hope you're doing well. It is Friday, April 4th, and it is 1 week, less than 1 week, until the start of the Strongsville show for 2025, just outside Cleveland, Ohio. I cannot wait for it. It'll be my second Strongsville show, and I actually have a guest with me here on this video. It's my good friend Steve, Vintage on Vintage. I'm going to bring him on camera now, and then we're going to talk Strongsville here for a few minutes because we're heading over there together. And I know Steve is just as excited as I am. Steve, how is it going, my friend? And just talk about Strongsville and what you're looking forward to.
It's going well, John. I'm excited. It's scary that it's only a week away. It seems like we've been talking about it for a while now. But the funny thing is, it also seems like it was quite a while ago that we were in Strongsville, and it was only a year ago. So I'm really excited. I've never been to a show that had that much vintage, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean top end vintage. So I was from just a pure shopping cards. It's awesome, but the best part, as you know, is all the content creators and people who watch your channel. There's a ton of YouTubers there,
Yes.
and you can't turn around without seeing somebody, seeing somebody pick up something. It was the most like it was the most fun I've ever had at a card show, and I'm excited to do it again.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I had so much fun last year, and in seeing like other YouTube content creators who, I've gotten to know, along with you and others, and just sort of seeing them in like the next aisle and saying, maybe even like sort of just motioning to them, hey, and so maybe one of them might say, come over here, I wanted you to see something. Just those little moments are really cool because it's not a huge show, but it's a big enough show that and you're spending time at like every table. Like you're not skipping tables at this show because there's just so much great stuff at each one pretty much, because it is an almost exclusive vintage show. I mean, it's what, 95%. There may have been one or two tables that had some modern mixed in, but last year, but I mean, it lived up to the billing last year that we heard a lot of people talk about. For me anyway, lived up to the billing, and even more so, like it delivered in spades. I had a blast, picked up some nice cards, watched some friends in the community pick up some amazing cards,
Yeah.
and I hope that happens again, and I'm sure it will. And even beyond the show, I'll sort of touch on this piece. After the show day ends at like 5 o'clock, but there's stuff going on both Friday and Saturday night this year. And last year there was the awesome YouTube get together on the Friday night, and arguably that might have been my most fun of the show. And I know we've got the Friday night get together again for YouTubers, and then Saturday night, the four collectors folks are, the four collectors team are doing the first trade night. So that seems like that's going to be really fun. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm excited. Last year, I thought, like you said, I thought the get together was the best part. I got to meet a lot of people, and I'm usually a bit reserved, so I'm going to say this right now. Um, if you see me there, and please come up and say hi, and I will try to do the same because it was such a blast, and I'm excited because there are a lot of people I hadn't got to meet before, or people now that I know better, and it's bringing in collectors from all over the country, and this and the national are really the only two opportunities a lot of times you have to meet them. So, and what I liked about it last year was there was a lot of people bringing their cards, and you and I both picked up some nice cards
Yeah, you did.
that evening. And now this year, four collectors are going to do their trade night, and I think that's going to be a blast. Also, I plan on bringing a few cards to potentially trade. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be great.
Oh, that's cool. I look forward to seeing what you're bringing. I know. So Steve and I are riding over to Cleveland together, to Strongsville, and so I'm sure we'll talk about what we're bringing, along with just other card stuff along the way. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what you're bringing. I'm bringing some as well for trade night, but I'm also making a big SGC submission, fairly big anyway, that, I might wait until Sunday to make it until, let's see what happens over the course of Friday and Saturday, even into that trade night event. I'll have some cards that, I think will have some decent trade value actually. But at the same time, I really like having the cards. But there are some gold cards out there that, I have over the next 1 to 2 years, let's say, that, if I find one this weekend or, next weekend, I guess, coming up, I'll be super happy. But, if someone at the trade night has one of those cards too, gosh, it's just, you never know what you're going to run into in terms of a situation. So, I mean, I probably got a good half a dozen to 10 cards still, even though I picked up my gold card for the year that I called that the Play Ball DiMaggio earlier
Yeah.
this year. And I got it a lot earlier than I expected. But you never know what people might bring. So, but with the gold card piece in mind, what are you targeting at Strongsville, like say during the dealer hours, during the main show? You got some cards you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do. I do. Last year, and normally I stay in a fairly middle range, but I'm going for some big boys this year. As you know,
Awesome.
I've been selling some cards and I've been saving some cards. So there's 10 cards. My top 10 is really neat. I'd like to walk away with two of my top five. So number one, hands down, is the Henry Aaron rookie card. That's the card I've wanted for a long time. I'm probably looking in the 2 to 3 range. I'm hoping that I can find a couple options there. Um, After the Aaron card, the next two cards on my hit list are actually basketball cards.
Oh,
They're
okay.
both 61 Fleers. They're both rookie cards. I want to get the Jerry West, and I
Nice.
would love to get the Wilt Chamberlain at some point. And then probably the last two cards to round out the five. And when I say five, I can't afford all five of these, but I would like to grab two of the five if I could. The fourth would probably be a Jim Brown rookie card. So going
Oh,
flipping into
nice one.
football.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to baseball, I'm probably thinking a Sandy Koufax rookie card because I think it's time that I add
Oh,
one of those.
okay.
So two of those five is what I'm hoping, but I really want the Aaron. I'm a little concerned because when I was at the Chicago Sports Spectacular a couple weeks ago with
Okay.
Mitchell, White Sox fan, card collector, I didn't see a whole lot of errands there. I didn't see a lot in the range I was looking for. I saw a few five, six, and sevens that were probably more than I want to pay at this point, but I did not see the 2 and 3. But a lot of the big guys, I think, weren't there. Like Ash wasn't there this year, to my knowledge. So some of the big collectors, they'll all be in Strongsville. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
Well, gosh, I'm hoping you find, yeah, like you said, at least two of those that can work for you. The Koufax, that's the first I think you've mentioned that one. I know you've been looking for the Aaron, or that's been on your mind for a
yeah,
while. Now, I think there are, just in terms of the Aaron, there are dealers who will, they'll have like an array of Aaron rookies, probably. You know what I mean? So hopefully, like you found, I know we're going to show cards that we did from last year in a bit, just to show them here. And I think one of the ones you picked up was in a similar situation. It was sort of like several of that card, and you found the one for you. But
yeah,
so hopefully that will work out for the Aaron as well. I have to think they're going to bring out they bring out their great cards. This is actually a really good segue. Um, they bring out their great cards, those dealers. But man, you and I like to find the bargains, as we like to do on your channel, on our Bargain Hunter series. And I know last year it seemed like the bargains were kind of hard to find because they bring out these dealers bring out their best of the best for this audience, and they also bring out their super rare stuff. And so as a result, they're priced accordingly, at least, from the dealer's perspective to start, any negotiation. There are definitely some cards to be found that, and I found, the best, I only picked up like 3 or 4 cards last year, and the highest price one I found was like just under 150. So, because I didn't bring a big budget. So I did find some opportunities there, but they're hard to find, I think. What do you think about that?
yeah. I think some of the best bargains I found weren't at the show. They were at a YouTube get together when people brought their cards, and there were
Hmm.
a lot of people that had cards that they were looking to move to make some money to buy other cards. And I was really happy. I picked up a few. I did find a few. There are a few tables. I like to buy some stuff raw and potentially, grade it. So I did find a few. And that's kind of my goal this year. My goal, I want to get out of the gates quick and fast and buy those two cards probably pretty early, John. And then at that point, I'll be looking for bargains. As a matter of fact,
Right.
we will have aired. We're gonna shoot our Bargain Hunters episode pretty soon, and we will
Yep.
know who our chase is before we go to Strongsville. And I'll probably be looking for a few of that player's cards, whoever it turns out to be.
That timing is actually really good. So yeah, I'm looking
It
forward to
is.
getting that recorded and finding out who else I need to add to my list to look for that week next weekend. A couple real quick goal cards I have for myself for
Yeah.
Strongsville. I touched on, over the course of the next year or two, there are probably a half dozen to a dozen cards that, I really want to get. This one, realistically, I'd say the top target for me would be the 1933 Gaudi Bill Terry, number 125,
No.
which you could probably see behind me there on my poster. It's the green background portrait of him. I think that card is just a work of art, and I want to have that in my collection. I love the fact that he played for the New York Giants. And is also the NL's last 400 hitter. And gosh, 5 years from now, that'll be a century ago when that happened. He did that in 1930, if you can believe it.
Yeah, that's
Tony
amazing.
Gwynn came close. If we finished that '94 season, he might have. Who knows? He was fully capable of getting to that milestone for sure. But so that card I would love to pick up, and that's a doable card for me this year. And you touched on Raw. If I find a good example of raw of that card, I would certainly consider picking it up. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be graded right away, so to speak. I could just drop it off at SGC. Um, there are a couple of cards in my 1954 goal that I have still where I'm trying to pick up the the Bowman Hall of Famers that aren't in the top set,
Yeah.
as well as there are a couple of other Hall of Famers that aren't in either set, like the Stan Musial for the Red Heart. That might be a little out of my budget this time,
Yeah.
unless some of those cards that I'm bringing to either submit or trade, we'll see what happens. But so I need the Bob Feller Bowman and I need the Pee Wee Reese Bowman. So those two, I could, if maybe
Yeah.
something like that I find and maybe pick up. But there are also, I'll finish this thought just really quick. We'll move on. But there is the Al Lopez card from Dandy Potato Chips from '54. It's the only card that he has, I think, that I've come across for him. So I'd like to pick him up for this little Hall of Fame thing I'm trying to do. And it
Yeah.
gives me a card from the Dandy set, which I don't have yet. So that would be kind of neat. And then one other one is, and I would think like these dealers could have these kinds of cards.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the New York Journal American like little ticket stub kind of contest set that that newspaper did in '54. Dick Williams was on the Brooklyn Dodgers at that point and has a card in that set, and he's not
Really?
either Topps or Bowman that year. And he has a '52 Topps card. I think that's his rookie. But he does not have a '54 in either major set. But he does have a Journal American little ticket card. So I think that would be cool if I saw
That
that.
would be really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so little
that'd be
things like
cool.
that, I think could be really fun to, nice finds there. So that's kind of what I'm kind of aiming for. Um, but I want to move on to some of the cards we picked up last year to kind of whet our appetites for this coming, next week here. What were some of your, you know, the pickups that you made that really kind of like, 1 year later, like, man, that was a cool memory picking that up.
Yeah, so I told you I'll share a few. The first four are ones that I picked up raw, that I graded, and I was really excited about that. So I picked up this on day one. This
Ooh,
second
Mean
year
Joe.
Joe Green, yeah,
Nice.
and I think it looks so nice in the tux. And I got that graded. It came back a 4.5. I was excited about that. Picked up this one that I love. the Kellogg's Roberto Clemente.
Beautiful
Um,
card.
yeah, it is I thought it was going to get a higher grade, but they're really tough on these. But it's just a gorgeous card. And then I picked up this one. I picked up cheap, and I had it graded, and it's the Joe Montana rookie that came back in a 6, and that's what I was looking for. So,
Great.
um, and then speaking of bargains at the bargain night, I bought this one off of B. Roth and had it graded. 1964 Ernie Banks that came back a
Ooh,
5. So,
very cool.
uh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember you were looking at a lot of his cards.
Yeah, I bought 3 or 4 of his. That was, and I got them all graded. That was the one I wanted to share. And then, from a grading perspective, like I picked up some cards I've been looking for a while. This one is the Deacon Jones rookie card in a 6.
Hmm.
Um, really excited to have picked that up. I had passed on that card, and I had been regretting it for a while. These next two I did a bargain deal on, and one of them is this beautiful Stan Musial, his very first Topps card in a 6. Um, it's just got some fantastic color. I was happy to
Yes.
grab that.
Love those 58 All Stars.
Yeah, I've since added about 8 more, to be honest with you.
You got to finish the run.
And I grabbed this one at the same time as
That
part of
is
the
great.
deal, and that's the Frank Robinson rookie card in a 2, and this is a really nice 2, and I got it, relatively cheap, so I was really excited to add that. And then the chase card, both you and Orlando were there, and this is the one you were referring to earlier, is this
Yes.
the 69
That's
mantle.
it.
This is a card I have wanted ever since my buddy pulled one back when we were kids. And I just love it. And to your point, we went to that table. That dealer probably had 12 of these to choose from, and I couldn't make up my mind. I ended up calling both you and Orlando over, and at the end of the day, we landed on this one, and I'm really excited about it. So, yeah, those were the cards I picked up, and I forgot how many cards I actually picked up last year.
That's cool. Yeah, you had a real nice show. It turns out. That's right. And I couldn't remember how many of those, but there were 12. You think there were that many laid
There
out
were
for you? Kind of here, choose.
there were 2 rows of them, and
Yeah.
in the grades I was looking at, which was somewhere between a 5 and a 6, there was at least 10 to 12 of those in 5s and 6s, and PSA slabs and SGC slabs. He had the funny thing is I had walked by his table twice and hadn't noticed it. But then I walked by it the third time, and there it was, and I went home with one, so I was happy.
Yeah, that was a cool moment for sure. Well, I have my hopes up again for a nice selection of Aaron's and Koufax's from their respective rookie years.
Yeah.
I am hopeful for you there. I'll show real quick the cards that I kind of picked up from Strongsville last year, and then I'm actually going to show a few cards of just some Cleveland Indians to kind of whet our appetites for next week to
That's
sort of
cool.
set the scene. But my big pickup from Strongsville last year was the 1962 AL Home Run Leaders. Not a huge card, but it is in a PSA 7. It's an old 7, but it's actually a pretty nice card. In terms of condition, the glare might be a bit of an issue here, but it's a nice card there. It's nice to just have the M&M boys and what they did in '61 kind of on that card. So as a Yankee fan, I like having it, and it's cool to Killebrews on it too.
Yeah, I remember when
Um,
you got that one, John. That was a huge pickup. That's a beautiful card.
yeah, I thought Ash gave me a really nice deal on it. I mean,
He
I
did.
it was, for him, it was kind of in his bargain bin, given all the great, fantastic cards he has. But it was cool to pick it up from him, so I enjoy. It was in. He gave me a nice little deal on it. And then I also picked up this card, and I kind of miss. I didn't look at it as well as or closely as I should have. It does have a small crease in the top left corner on the front, hence the grade it got when I did send it in because I bought it raw. But it's a really nice, and to me, the eye appeal on it is still nice. 1941 play ball Tommy Henrik in an SGC3. I really like this card, and I just love the color. I'm just, I gravitate toward like really striking color backgrounds. I just really like them. So, I mean, that's why I love the 54 top set so much. That's why I like 49 Bowman quite a bit. And I only have one 49 Bowman right now. No, I think I have two actually, but I'd love to pick up a few more over the years. Um, and then on the Friday night event, at the YouTube event, I bought this card from Don Field of Dreams. Bought a Ron Santo rookie from 61 Tops, really nicely centered.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a beauty. I
I
remember
really
that
like
one.
making this pickup, so
Yeah.
this was a beauty. Um, and there's a good chance I'm going to really kind of go for the 61 Hall of Fame run of the main cards like this. I mean, they're all base
Yeah.
cards, but like not the subs. I have a few of the subset cards. The All Star cards from that set from 61 are really tough if they're high numbers and they're pricey. But
Yeah.
at the very least, I might go for these. I have over half of them, so that's something I'm thinking about doing. And if the opportunity presents itself next week, I might add one or two. You never know. So let me show a couple of Cleveland cards here really quick, and then I'll actually
Yeah.
put us both on here as we go. Actually, I'll show the first one kind of here solo, then I'll put the camera on both of us. But thought I'd show this card here.
Yeah.
Love this 54 Tops Dobie.
Yeah.
It's got a really small wrinkle on the back somewhere. That's kind of hard to pick up, but eye appeal wise, this is a pretty nice card. So,
Yeah. 54 is another one of those colorful sets, and it's
oh
just, they're
gosh,
so
yeah,
beautiful.
love that Dobie. And let me put us back up here like this as we'll kind of wrap this up here in a minute. But the 66 Tops Dick Hauser, it's actually a high number card. And I picked this up like, I don't know, 4+ years ago, not long after I got back in the hobby. I just saw it in an LCS one day. And Dick Hauser was a former Yankee coach and manager and a world championship manager with the Royals back in the 80s. We lost him way too soon. And I just thought it was a pretty nice card. I remember I paid only $15 for it. And so I have it in a card saver because I've always had an idea that maybe I would actually grade it sometime. I don't think I'm going to bring it with me on this trip, but who knows? Maybe I will.
That's a pretty sharp card. I think that would grade well.
Yeah, I mean the corners, a couple of the corners on the bottom, the two corners on the bottom have really, really slight like nicks. They're really small though, so I do think it could grade at least a 5 and maybe a 6. But I think that I don't know. I'll think about it. um, but I was going to show 4 more cards here really quickly. These are TTM autos I've gotten of some Cleveland Indians, and they're all from 1976 Tops. And I just thought it'd be kind of fun to trot these out
I
to
love
kind of
that
again
set.
whet our appetite, and only because the Tops heritage year this year is 1976 Tops. So
Yeah.
here's a Rick Manning for you, TTM'd. It's actually a pretty neat card. Here is here's a Jack Brohammer. Here's a name from the 70s.
Yeah, it is.
Vaguely, I remember him with the Red Sox, actually. He was with the Red Sox for a little while after Cleveland, but I just love that red jersey. Just love that jersey. It's so cool. Here's one of Dave LaRoche, relief pitcher,
Remember
known
him?
for his La Lob ephus pitch.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that a few times when he was with the Yankees later in his career for a short time. And then lastly, this is a cool one. Dwayne Kuiper,
Oh, that's
the
a
probably
great
more
auto.
known as the Giants broadcaster for
Yeah.
quite a long time now. But
Yeah.
he had a pretty nice career as a middle infielder for Cleveland. I don't know if he
That's a
may have played for the Giants later in his career. I think he did.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's a sweet auto too. He has a really nice auto.
yeah, I think so. I
Signature
think
looks
so.
fantastic.
So I am psyched for Cleveland, my friend. Strongsville in particular.
Yeah.
We'll be at the Best Western, where the right across the parking lot from where the show's at, and the 2 events in the evening are there too. So gosh, we're gonna be right in the thick of it. I am just super psyched about it. Excited to just see a lot of people I haven't seen in either 9 months at the National or maybe even a year ago at Strongsville last year. So,
Yeah.
what kind of closing thoughts do you have here for us, Steve? As we're less than 7 days away.
No, I'm super excited. I didn't get a chance to make the national last year, so it has been a year since I've seen a lot of these folks. It's going to be a blast. This show, you and I talking, has got me even that much more excited. So All I can say is I'm looking forward to seeing everybody that can make it there. Um, and I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun, picking up some cards and laughing a lot and watching other people. It's almost as much fun watching other people pick up a card as it is
Absolutely.
picking one up yourself, right?
Yep, I had a few cool memories from that from last year's show, that I hope to I'm sure I'll kind of get a chance to experience again. So and that is just, seeing us, other passionate collectors like us, and all happen to be, a lot of us will be, we're super into vintage, into, so it'll be kind of that much, in
Yeah.
some ways even more meaningful, because we're just really really passionate in that space, and so we're happy for each other's big pickups, and that's what makes another reason why this community is so great, and why I've just loved being a part of it. So, and
Yeah,
continue.
and people are excited for every card you pick up. People were just as excited when I showed them that Joe Montana as they were when people were showing them their Babe Ruth, and
Yeah,
that was cool. That was all, that people just like cards. Everybody there has a passion for this hobby, and that's what makes it that much more enjoyable.
agreed, agreed. All righty, Steve. Well, I'm gonna wrap this one up here. I've got some family stuff going on here upstairs that I think I gotta get to. So,
Yeah.
um, thanks for jumping on with me here. It was really fun, kind of, talking about Strongsville. Like you said, gets me even more excited for it. And yeah, I'll see you in like a week.
See you in a week, John. Thanks for having me. Take
Awesome.
care, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining, and yeah, see you on the next video. Bye now.